Welcome back to NRC, episode 3. I'm Noah. We might have to retake this.
Oh, no, keep going.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Curtis.
And today we will be finishing our Star Trek Picard discussion as the season has wrapped.
Yes.
It's also referred to as a series in the UK. They refer to shows as, or seasons as series.
That's weird.
Yeah.
That's strange. Beans on toast.
No.
Weird.
Oh, God.
Okay, so episode 8, or 9.
Yep.
9.
So I guess we'll just hop right in. Episode 9. The first thing that I kind of want to point out, they decided, I don't know how many. Actually, no, that's a dumb
What's
thing
the
that I was
title?
about to say. It's Et in Arcadia, and it's part 1 and part 2 for episode 9 and 10. I was about to say there. I don't remember them ever doing a 2-part where they had it the same name, but they have done that before.
Many times.
Yeah.
Not in DS9, really.
No. They had many part 1 and part 2 episodes. So, the first thing of note, the episode it was rated with 7.2 stars on IMDb.
Yeah.
So, it was okay.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's
I feel like after Norente or Nepenthe or whatever, it's kind of gone downhill.
If only someone could have seen the writing on the wall and warned you. I think I sent you a text saying as much, Curtis.
I think you may have.
yeah.
If
I
only.
mean, we had so many texts from you just guessing what was going to happen at the end, and they almost all came true.
I'm a genius.
Okay, so jumping right into part 1. Picard and his crew, pursued by Narek, arrive ahead of the Romulan fleet at Soji's homeworld, Capalius. Seven brings the artifact there as well. That was kind of it was kind of jarring.
Borg cube.
Yeah, it was jarring to see the Borg cube just comes out of
Just
nowhere.
show up.
Yeah.
And I thought there were only like 13 drones left. Shouldn't that thing need repairs before it gets into transport flight?
Yeah. We don't care about these things.
I don't know. Was its transwarp drive still intact? I feel like the Romulans would have ripped that thing out and like dissected it. That's an impressive piece of technology.
They are Borg.
Yeah, that is an interesting point, though. The first couple of episodes where you saw the cube, it was surrounded by all those defense turrets or whatever.
Right. And then it just...
It didn't
Zoom.
matter.
Yep.
Whatever.
Yes. 7 brings the artifact there as well. The planet's defense system causes all to crash land on the planet's surface. That's where they use the weird flower things.
Space flowers.
Space flowers.
Something I haven't seen since Star Trek the Animated Series.
Oh.
The less I thought about that show, the better.
Like I to be honest, I don't think I ever watched every episode of the animated series.
That's
I know
for the best.
I'd seen a few. I remember the episode where Mud came back with all the clones again, or the robots that he had.
Right.
I remember there was another episode with Tribbles.
Right.
After that, I don't know.
There was an episode with Spock that was really good.
Yeah, you mentioned it.
Yeah.
It was how he goes back and talks to himself when he's
They go back
a
to
wee
that
little boy.
Neverland planet.
Sure.
The rest of it's a blur to me as well. I'm going to be honest.
Wait.
It was made on the real cheap end because I think all the money was spent getting the original cast back because William Shatner and Leonard Nimoy insisted. Or maybe just one of them. I don't remember. But yeah, so they got the original cast back and then they had no money, I think is how it went.
Wait, was he like a young Spock when he went back to see him, or was he like adult Spock?
Both.
Both?
Yeah, he was adult Spock who went back to see young Spock.
Okay.
He went through the gateway at the edge of forever. It's time travel.
Is that weird arch thing that's
Right.
made of stone? Okay. Okay. I guess so.
This happened, Brian.
Moving back towards
There was a
Picard.
weird winged commander or something who replaced Spock when he came back and he was dead. Believe me, it makes sense.
The planet's defense system causes all to crash land on the planet's surface. The crew discover a village inhabited by synthetics, as well as by Alton Inigo Soon, the son of Data's creator, Noonien Soon. Just those Soons, you pointed this out almost right away. They have some strong genetics, and they all look exactly the same.
Exactly the same.
Yeah, something I don't
I
get
wonder if
it.
there's some kind of cloning going
I
on.
don't know.
They are geneticists, or they used to be.
It's true.
What's his name in Enterprise was a geneticist.
Yes.
Yeah.
But then he went into positronics at the end of that. That was like a 3-part episode with the
Augments.
augments.
Yeah. I think you're right. And I have something written down for this.
Sure.
Juliana Soon, his wife, she showed up in one random episode of TNG. She was an android at that point, but she was a real person at some point, and they don't mention that she was his potential mother. Theoretically, the only person who could have been his mother.
Guess.
Just saying. There's potential for more continuity, and they don't really take it.
Well, she's gone. We don't talk about her.
She's still alive. The android her is still alive.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
They were like, "Go on your way. You'll," and they didn't tell her she was an android too.
Oh.
Oh, that's right. Because she could play the violin so precisely.
Right.
Data noticed.
Mm-hmm. Curtis remembers the episode.
I do not.
I watched it last week.
That's how.
I'm not even joking.
So, Alton Inigo Soon, the son of Data's creator, Noonien Soon, and warn them of the approaching Romulan fleet. Theon Greyjoy Narek is captured and imprisoned. Sutra, another doppelganger of Soji, mind melds with Jurati and reveals that the admonition is a warning from a highly advanced synthetics that they will defend their fellow synthetics against threats from organic life forms. In a talking point I have here, it's a very Mass Effect-ish plot / weird robot tentacle senpai.
That's episode 10. I'm looking at the wrong notes.
Oh, it was just talking points.
Okay.
They were all
And we'll
around.
get there.
Yeah.
But yes, very Mass Effect-y, which I think lots of people have said it now.
Yeah.
Easy comparison.
Yeah.
Easy. Also very obvious. Like they didn't even try to change it.
Yeah.
What do I know?
I don't know. Oh. Any other
The whole
notes?
getting onto the planet with the weird species and the colorful garb, it's just been done a million times. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe they were trying to be Star Trek.
Right, but you know who these people are, so it's not even like an interesting get to know you.
Mm-hmm.
You sort of get to know their culture, except you already understand that they're like hiding and that they're not really trusting of organic life. So there's not even that exchange. I don't know.
very, very not trustful people. You also had something to mention. I think you had something to mention about how all of a sudden Sutra, the Soji doppelganger, somehow she learned how to mind meld.
Right, I was waiting for you to get there before
Yes.
I...
I think I...
Yeah, you
Okay.
mentioned it.
Yeah, Sutra, another doppelganger of Soji, mind melds with Jurati and reveals that the admonition is a highly... Yeah, I already put
then
this
I
part
missed
out there.
it.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know. But yeah, an android who apparently is obsessed with Vulcan culture, that you don't learn how to mind meld like that. That's not how that works. Vulcans are partially telepathic. That's what makes that work.
It is weird.
It is weird.
You're not a real person. You're not even a Vulcan. You're not even a half Vulcan. At least they had that for mind melding with what's her name. It's like, oh, she's half Vulcan. That's why she had double mind meld, maybe, or maybe they're just referencing Star Trek 6.
Spock does the super mind meld.
Right.
And melts her brain.
Like, androids have a positronic brain, not a real one? It doesn't make sense. It's almost like they just wanted a moment for her to be able to have all that information
Right.
and make sense of it, couldn't she do that with a memory transfer?
Or
Like
the
androids are
super-
prone to do?
They also have the super technology whatever
Right.
device that they
Create
use.
a mind transfer device.
Yeah, that thing.
The ocarina.
Yeah, the
The Ocarina of Time.
Man,
I didn't even have to tell Curtis about that one. He clued in on it.
Yeah.
Nice.
well, I just watched the episode, and that's the first thing that I said. I was like, "It's an ocarina."
Yeah.
Oh,
But
man.
yeah, it's like it just
In her defense, Captain Archer did learn how to do, the Vulcan pinch.
but that was through memory transfer from like a 10,000-year-old Vulcan or something, like a long dead Vulcan.
Mm-hmm.
He had his
Katra.
the Katra.
Katra.
Remember when Bones had the Katra? He was trying to
Yes, he
nerf
couldn't-
it.
he couldn't do
figure
it.
out. Obviously, Archer's better than Bones. No.
He did somehow figure it out. It took him some time.
Right. But I'm just saying there was like a situational explanation for that,
Yeah.
rather than him just sitting down studying a Vulcan book and going, "Yes, I know how to do these things now."
Those episodes I think most of the 4th season of Star Trek Enterprise
It's pretty good.
it's pretty good, and
It's above average.
I enjoyed it.
As long as you're not talking about the fake finale.
Uh,
It ended at Terra Prime. Don't tell me differently.
there was Jonathan Frakes. He
I don't
was
know what
there.
you're talking about. And he's there in this. Oh God.
He was there. See this connection?
You realize that like him and the writers for that episode have publicly apologized for making it.
Oh yeah, I've heard. I'm just saying.
Straight up, they were like, "This was a mistake. We didn't execute it the right way. I'm sorry."
Well, it is what it is. Picard tries to persuade them to evacuate the planet, but Sutra argues that they should summon the makers of the admonition to defend them. She allows creepy boyfriend Theon Greyjoy to escape, and another synthetic is found dead, ostensibly proving the danger organic life forms pose. So that was...
That's
I don't
all
know.
episode 9?
There's a little bit more. Picard is arrested when he refuses to agree to Sutra's plan. Jurati wins her freedom by offering to help Soon with his research developing an android body into which consciousness can be transferred. Yes.
What's the point?
I don't know. Well, there are
I know what
two
the point is.
there are two talking points that I did get from that.
Oh boy.
Number one, there were many Picard speeches, not just in episode 9, but just kind of throughout the whole series. I felt like episode 9, episode 10, there were a lot of Picard speeches, and he does one there when he's trying to convince the androids to...
Right, and then he gets shouted down by
Yeah.
Brett Spiner.
Yeah, which was weird. And then also we had this back and forth with Kim from Scott Pilgrim, Jurati, because like I was more confused about her arc than really anybody else in this whole show, because she went from like being this really hopeful character who was very scared of her shadow, and then she killed somebody, and then everybody got angry at her, and then they weren't angry at her, and she was like trying to be useful, and then she joins them, and then later in episode 10 is double cross. I was very confused
Got me.
by her.
She was almost a plot device, one might say.
Kim from Scott Pilgrim. Why?
Should have just stayed drumming, Kim.
Should have just stayed drumming.
Laziest
We'll
drummer
put in drum sound effects in post.
That's the laugh from the postman.
Haha. Any other points?
I mean, the cliffhanger wasn't, I don't know, it wasn't like a huge cliffhanger.
An android dies from a knife to the eye? ?
Right.
I don't know about that.
It's not a real eye.
I
It's
mean,
not a real brain.
yeah. If that android had been stabbed with like an electric conduit that overloaded them and shocked them and fried them. Sure.
That didn't happen.
No.
Not Soji radicalizing the androids to summon the robot overlords.
Yes.
LUL.
Laugh underloud.
I don't know. It's just something I see online. My grand prediction from the day I took these notes: Picard will become an android. Dear God.
Yeah.
Hey, we can't. Oh, spoiler warning.
Oh yeah.
Suppose.
It was, it's weird how his symptoms of his brain thing. They come into full force in episode 10.
They kicked
Could have
in.
had a slow build up, like
No.
he's slowly going crazy, and maybe that's why the admirals aren't trusting him right away.
Right.
But that would make too much sense. Synthetic life equals perfection? Was that a line in there somewhere?
I'm not sure, but that just reminds me of that meme with what's his face that played young Magneto. It's like better, perfection. And there was one like that because he played. I don't remember what movie that meme came from, but he also then went on to play the character from the Alien prequels, the Prometheus prequels,
Right.
and how his character, I think his character in the Prometheus
Was obsessed with making perfection.
was obsessed with making perfection. So it's like, wow, it just came full circle.
Damn. Seven says she felt connected, like she'd never been a part of a collective before.
Huh. Guess that's a diss on Admiral Janeway.
Janeway, Captain Janeway. I don't remember the whole song. Doesn't 709 need to regenerate? Still. She did
Don't
through
know.
all 4 years she was on Voyager? Was it 4?
3 or 4.
Whatever.
And if you go season 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, it's 4 years.
And she was there for 4 years.
Okay.
Cool.
Well,
So does she have like portable alcove something? Like
I don't know.
mean,
seriously, these are
Odo
questions
had a
that
bucket.
need
Who knows?
explanations. Right, and Odo took his bucket with him even when he went on the Defiant.
yeah. Who knows? She might have something. Maybe something that she carries in her pocket.
Well,
she
then
just plugs it
show
into the
that.
back of her neck. I don't know.
She's got to regenerate still, unless you're going to tell me that they removed that, which they couldn't because that was attached to her cortical node, which Echep gave up his to give to her because she had lived too long with Borg implants to survive without a cortical node.
From our Voyager enthusiast. Thank you.
Yes. Take that, Liam. I just remembered though that in Endgame, I think the Doctor says that they could theoretically do the procedure.
Oh yeah, that it could be removed and she would become more
Oh, yeah.
human-ish.
So then mention that happened or something.
I suppose. I don't know.
So
maybe.
ignore my last complaint.
Moving on to part 2, Rios and Raffi join Narek to work against the synthetic beacon. Oh, I have a talking point right away from that one. Now, so for whatever reason, we now trust Theon Greyjoy.
Right.
All of a sudden, out of nowhere.
Well,
We're
he
just gonna-
loved Soji from the beginning.
I guess. I think he was more stalker than
That
loving.
means he's trustworthy.
I
Ryan, don't you
know.
understand how this angsty bullshit works?
It's just, I don't know. Whatever. He's there.
He's there and he's good now.
I guess.
But his sister is still bad, and we'll get to that later.
Did she die?
Yes.
Yes.
In episode 10.
10.
Yes.
She officially died. Okay.
Well, I guess they didn't show her falling on a spear and being impaled. but-
Exactly.
Ryan, the cat fight.
I saw the cat fight.
That was the sister.
Yeah, I know. But
I
they
guess
didn't show her land. So that's why I question if she's actually dead.
They didn't show Harrison Ford land in Star Wars Force Awakens.
He got a
could still be
lightsaber
alive.
through his chest.
That's the difference, because we saw something protrude.
God.
We did not see anything protrude for what's her face. So
You got your thumbnail, Curtis.
Yeah.
We didn't see anything protrude.
yeah. So I think that is what's coming on for next season. She'll be a future antagonist.
I don't know.
Because I don't know what else they're going to talk about for next season.
Maybe they could go and explore strange new worlds, new civilizations.
The Gamma
boldly
Quadrant?
going where no one has gone before. Sure, go to the Gamma Quadrant. Come up with an excuse to go to Andromeda for all I care.
Back on point. Soji continues to build the beacon to summon the synthetic defenders. The Romulan fleet arrives on Capalius, but is stopped by a Starfleet armada. And I felt like there was a whole bunch of stuff just happened,
Yes.
like, at the same time.
Pretty much.
I don't know. So I was jarred
Okay.
through most of the episode.
My first note is about when Captain Picard first talks to Soji again, and she was like, "You can choose. You have a choice. You organics have never given us a choice." And I have a quote from a TNG episode. It is the ruling of this court that Lieutenant Commander Data, a synthetic, has the freedom to choose. Now, what episode did that come from? Could you guess?
Measure of a Man.
And they got it. The episode that this series is supposedly based on that they couldn't even have bothered to watch to the end. Apparently. Because Commander Data, and therefore would have set the precedent to have the freedom of choice for synthetic life.
Yeah.
Now, this was kind of ignored with the EMHs, but that's a whole nother thing. Technically, androids should have the freedom to choose. And that was given to him to stop them from making a bunch of slave labor like they did in the show, which
Yeah.
doesn't make sense.
We're slave datas.
It doesn't make sense, Ryan.
There were many slave datas. Picard convinces Soji to stop the beacon and destroy it, convincing O to take the fleet back to Romulan space. Picard then succumbs to his brain condition, but is saved when his consciousness is moved to a golem construct. The crew of the La Serena goes on another adventure, and that is
What a
all of
short
the plots.
synopsis.
Yeah, it's a very short plot synopsis.
There's a lot that's crammed into that episode
Yeah.
that synopsis does not count on.
No.
Don't mind me.
Like, Picard talks to Riker twice, and Riker says that interfering is definitely Picard's thing, and I went, lol, because there were 7 seasons of him doing as much as he could to not interfere with other cultures. Do you guys remember that episode where Picard met a bunch of xenophobes? And they were like, we don't want anyone to remember that our planet exists because we don't want to interact with anyone.
Yeah, I do remember that one.
So Picard wiped his memory and the memory of everyone else on the Enterprise, and then made Commander Data promise to never talk about what had happened to anyone again. They altered all the logs, all the sensor readings. They messed it up the first time, but they got to do it again, and that time they got it right.
Is that the one where Crusher...
Has the weird plants that grew overnight, supposedly? Yes.
Yeah, okay. I kind of remember.
Yeah. This is a guy whose interfering is definitely not his thing. Sure, show.
Another talking point that I thought was kind of cool that they made a callback to was the Picard maneuver, and they kind of did the super Picard maneuver all of a sudden.
Gotta one-up the Picard maneuver.
I guess.
Oh, boy, guys.
We had like 200 some Picard ships.
The Ocarina?
Yes, with the
Magic.
Ocarina.
Where did the Ocarina even come from?
The synths gave it to them so that they could repair their ship for some reason.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yes, Commander O.
Oh.
Took you a second.
Yeah, so we got to see many Picard ships. We got to see Captain Picard try to fly with hologram controls,
Oh my
which
God.
was
Dude, the holographic interfaces. I'm pretty sure I've kept my mouth shut until now. They are the worst thing ever because clearly Patrick Stewart at 87 years old is just kind of It's like with other people they're kind of like tapping or whatever, and Soji's also just like It's like, oh my God, what are you doing? Give me an L-Cars, please. Like they were pressing fake buttons there too, but at least they had something to like
something
point
to
at.
land on.
Right. It's like this is just meaningless hand waving. With CGI thrown on top of it.
Yeah. I agree. Consoles, way better.
Way better. Although they do explode a bit more often.
Yeah. We also got to see a medical tricorder and
Episode 10.
Yeah.
And a real
finally.
hypo spray.
And a real hypo spray.
Right.
So it's nice.
That was kind of cool.
3 seconds in episode 10. Good job, guys. You did it.
Yeah, I mean, once I got through with the alien overlord thing in episode 10, I thought the end was, halfway decent.
Kind of like the end of Nemesis, you might say.
That whole
Almost
part
like they redid it.
I was confused a little bit about. Well, there are a lot of things that confused me in this show, but but the end with Picard talking to Data, was that real, or
Yes.
Yeah, it
So
was.
they had transmogrified Picard's brain into robot brain, and the simulation that was running Data's memory got to
Was-
talk to robot Picard.
Okay, so yes,
Yes,
okay.
it was real.
It was real
I think.
from a certain point of view.
Oh no, we're not going down this road right now.
We promise Star Wars will be next episode.
Yeah,
Way to
I
throw us under the bus.
just rewatched all of Mandalorian, so I'm prepped and ready.
Hey, we did the same thing.
Yeah, we did the same.
Nice.
But then I figured episode 10 came out, might as well finish.
Yeah,
yeah,
finish ahead of schedule.
they had an actual credit sequence after episode 10.
They
did.
did.
Like with the star field. And all
Yeah.
that.
I forced Noah to watch it just to see if there was going to be any after
Post-credits, John
post-credit
DeLance.
scene. Yeah, if anything, I would enjoy
would've
a
been.
snap.
It would have been good, but it would have been too good.
Who knows? Maybe that's season 2.
I'm sure it's in the works. Yeah.
Somehow they had enough money to get Jonathan Frakes and
Jonathan Frakes probably did it more for kicks because he enjoys
True.
Star Trek and enjoyed playing the character of Will Riker and actually cares. Unlike Sir Patrick Stewart, who didn't show up to a single Star Trek convention or event for 40 years until he came back for the show.
Right.
Have you seen that meme? You might have sent me the meme
15
going
years.
around of Jonathan Frakes. He did some TV show where he starts every show with a question. And that's apparently circulating right now due to the what your 5-year-old does during this time, and it's just him asking all these random questions.
It's good.
Yeah.
Boy. Well, I have many a note for episode 10, so
Alright,
I could go through any of that
Oh,
stuff.
go for it.
At some point, they were sitting around outside of their nice, comfortable ship that probably has heating at a campfire, sharing campfire stories. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Maybe
didn't-
they were going for some Star Trek 5 vibes. You know, the greatest Star
No.
Trek movie ever made.
I wasn't paying as much attention during that scene, but I don't remember any row, row, row your boats. So I don't know.
So it's not a bad Star Trek movie. That's the rule. If they start singing, it's a bad movie. With the exception of the motion picture, which doesn't deserve the excitement of singing. Oh, gosh.
I honestly don't really remember that much of the first Star Trek movie at all.
Man, do I envy you.
Yeah. I don't know if it was just we decided not to watch it a lot growing up because we just spent more time watching Khan.
No.
I don't know.
There's this guy, Ron.
Yeah,
he
yeah.
didn't like the motion picture either.
Yeah. suppose.
He really liked Wrath of Khan.
That makes more sense. So we were...
We
Okay.
had no choice
We
in
had
this
no
matter.
choice. We were forced.
Already mentioned the holo displays. Oh, right. They ripped out another eyeball in this episode.
Yes.
It
Dark
wasn't...
Trek.
The ripping out wasn't on screen.
Oh, right, yeah.
But this show has a thing with eyeballs, and it's weird.
It is weird.
Stop it. I don't need to see eyeballs. All right, they had their super duper plan to go and destroy the beacon, the guys on the planet. Raffi,
Oh, yeah, they hid the bomb in the soccer ball.
right, which makes me think that the entire point of the soccer ball being on the ship was a plot device so that they would have a soccer ball in episode 10 to put their explosive in. Because he kicks it around in one episode and then never touches it again. But when they need something, looks over to that soccer ball. Oh boy. Yeah. I don't know if that's like Chekhov's gun level of boredom quality or like, I just don't know. And so they get there and they're like, all right, they do the nod and then they go into action. And two random dudes start beating up a bunch of androids who are supposed to be faster and stronger than regular humans.
Yeah.
And it turns out that's only true when the plot demands it.
Yeah.
Key point there.
We did get to see Soji with her, like, superhuman whatever because she threw that bomb so far up into the
Like
air.
going,
It was like, wow.
It's like no effort put into that throw at all.
Right.
Like,
So,
wow.
call
That's
back to
great.
episode 1 where we saw her Matrix jump. Or her sister Matrix jump.
It was like the slowest developing plan in action I've seen on a modern TV show.
It
I
was,
don't know.
it was a bit slow.
Hey, I could pay attention to what was going on. It was dumb, but I knew it was happening. I'll give it that.
It was, yeah, it was something. And then I had something else that I wanted to talk about, but I've just forgotten it. Maybe it was the stories at the campfire, I suppose. Where he said that history is repeating itself. That was another Mass Effect callback that we
Very
we figured out. Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica. All of this has happened before. All of this will happen again.
Yeah.
That's for Liam.
Our most devoted viewer. Our one devoted viewer.
No, we have another, and he
He might be here someday.
he might come on an episode one day.
Right.
So who
Cool.
knows? Who knows? That's a wink wink to you viewers.
The giant Federation fleet shows up, and they're all the same class of starship.
Yes.
Just like all of those times that we've seen the Federation show up with a giant fleet in the same class of... Oh, wait. That never happened. Ever. Except in the original series. But that's because they didn't have enough money to build other ship models.
Yeah.
So it was just like, oh, look, it's the Enterprise painted 5 times.
Yeah. I enjoyed that about the original television
Well,
series.
that's
I
because
like
it's a
that.
shoestring budget sci-fi show.
Yeah.
It gives
I don't
it
know.
charm.
I thought some of the ships looked a little bit different at the end. Because I was looking through them, and some of them were a little different, but maybe they're just like, it's almost the year, what is it, 2500 now? Or
In this
20
show, it's $23.99.
Okay, so
2400.
24. So it's almost 2400. We could just, compartmentalize and make everything pretty easy.
Starfleet likes to build specialized ships for things.
Yeah.
That's what they do.
Yeah.
It did seem like, I don't know, maybe the CG artists were just lazy that
Maybe.
copy, paste.
Look, Starfleet has become one of the other races. You know, those random, like the Romulans in TNG only had the Derridex class Warbird until Nemesis, I think. Well, they had like 1 or 2 other ships that showed up in the show,
Little
but it was
ships.
like, it's that Warbird again, or the Cardassians. It's always a Gull class. No, Gulls are a rank. Galler class
Yeah.
Right.
destroyer. the Dominion had two kinds of ships.
Right.
They had the little ship and the big ship, and then that super big ship in that one episode.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. They became one of the other races, because Starfleet had all those ships. They had all these cool little design ships. The Miranda, the Excelsior, the Sovereign, Galaxy, Defiant. You had all these things. And you had all those cool ship designs that showed up in First Contact and nowhere else.
It would have been cool, yeah, if they would have had a couple Defiants flying around.
Yeah.
Defiant class ships, I mean.
Ships that were built for war.
She was unique.
Yeah,
2 more showed up in a Voyager episode. Message in a bottle.
Yeah. Suppose.
I don't remember. I trust our Voyager enthusiasts to know those kinds of things.
Yes.
It's not a bad show. It's just inconsistent. Christ.
Here. I did have one other point. I guess 7 of 9 just kind of gave up on the Borg and is now
She
just joined the Picard's
ship.
Yeah.
And apparently he's hitting on Raffi.
Yeah, saw that at the other thing that I
Poor
have is
Chakotay, man.
Calto. Yeah,
Oh, right.
They were playing Calto.
They threw that one thing in there. Oh boy, that saved the show for me.
I was a little bit excited. Just a little bit.
Where did Calto even come from? Was that
It was a Vulcan game.
Yeah, it was
it's
a Vulcan game. It
Vulcan.
was in
Tuvok played it.
Voyager. Yeah, and he was not good playing Calto towards the end of the series.
Well, that's because his mind was going crazy.
Yes.
Right.
But anyways, like, it wouldn't be a challenge to play against 7 of 9 because she would be able to just place the right thing and win. She did that immediately. The first time she saw the game, I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
Because she was like, Harry Kim, come and assist me with this work assignment. And he was like, I've almost beat Tuvok for the first time ever. I've got to play this. And she was like, think wins. Now will you assist me?
Harry Kim. Just
Poor guy. Poor guy, man.
Harry Kim.
Harry Kim.
One of the greatest characters ever created in Star Trek.
It's because they wrote him as pointless. There's potential there.
it's not. No, it's not a good character. Not a good character.
In Picard's moving speech to Soji, he's like, I know you. And I thought, for 5 days, you don't know this person.
Yeah.
I mean, true, she didn't really know herself either, which makes a very interesting predicament through this whole thing. But she's like, yeah, totally. Let's go with it. I trust Picard. Touching farewell of Picard.
Yes.
And like, everyone's crying and upset, and then they bring him back. I'm like,
Yep,
what's
then we
the point
get
of killing him?
Picard's not. Picard got his hot new brain and bod.
No. But yeah, it was just like, I'm so tired of self-sacrifices being immediately undercut. And I'm not sure if comic books were the origin of that trope, but they certainly popularized it. And I'm over it. Let people die.
Yeah.
Like Logan.
Like Logan.
Like Logan.
The Wolverine.
He's coming back.
They're never getting Hugh Jackman back.
No.
Get over it.
You don't know the powers of
Ryan
money.
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds and money.
All right, he might show up in Deadpool, but that'd be for the joke.
Yep.
You don't.
You wouldn't
Ryan
be
Reynolds has so much power. You
That's
never know.
true. I'm just saying he wouldn't be doing it as serious Wolverine. He'd be joke Wolverine. You know it.
Maybe
He'd show up in the yellow leotard and be like, "Is this what you wanted?"
he might. I was thinking more he'd dress up as Jean Valjean and just start singing
good
for a
too.
little bit, and then
Pull out the claws and say, "This is ridiculous." He's just in an audition for Deadpool.
something. Who knows?
Ryan Reynolds, feel free to use that idea
Yes.
because I think it'd be hilarious.
Yes. At me, Ryan Reynolds. Just follow me. Follow me on Twitter. Thank you.
Riker and Picard saying goodbye, that made me feel something, because Riker was like, I would never let you go in alone. I'm like your best pal. And I was like, oh.
And you didn't tell your best pal that you're dying.
I mean, yeah, there's that bit. But for like 10 seconds, I was like, oh, I like these characters. Riker, Picard, no one else on this ship. For the love of God.
Yeah. It was weird how they could all see each other's like FaceTime conversations at the same time.
Yeah.
Well, I
All
think
the view screen
Picard
conversations.
said, like, make sure this is broadcast to everyone.
Oh, did he say
Yeah.
that?
To Scott
never-
Pilgrim.
Oh, yeah.
Kimberly.
He never said end transmission.
Probably not.
I don't.
Which means
guess
Soji
not.
was looking in on his farewell to Riker.
I guess.
Because Soji was looking in when he's brain hemorrhages after Riker leaves.
Right. That's right.
So she totally saw him saying goodbye.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean anything, really. She didn't know Riker very well.
Mm-hmm.
Probably knew him as well as she knew Picard. Ew.
Haha.
The Data dream sequence that we talked about briefly, saying it was real. What a sequence that was, full
Yeah.
of weird innuendo.
That was a little. It was.
Do you dream about me, Captain?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now I remember.
Yeah. And then he's like, "Are you wearing the same clothes you were then?" And I was just thinking, were you wearing clothes in those dreams as well, Captain?
Oh no.
Because then he asks if he loves him, and there's that one joke would have pushed.
We
that
are
scene
in
way
we are
over.
in weird robot tentacle senpai
Oh,
areas
no.
right now.
God. For the love of God.
That was legit the first thing I thought when I saw
That would
those
be.
those tentacles that came out of space. I was like, oh no.
Don't think about
got-
it, Curtis. Don't look it up. Stay
Yeah.
away.
The portal was so Avengers ripoffy that I don't know how.
If
why
only there were some space whales.
Yeah, I
That
mean
big
it was
purple guy.
close.
We like the space whales.
A couple of humpback whales.
I had a. This is kind of off topic, but I have a friend of mine. He's a coworker, and I was talking to him one day about a lot of the different Star Trek movies, and I was trying to defend. Like I thought at least I had defended how a Star Trek 4 was the best Star Trek movie, and he's just like, that's the stupidest idea ever. Why do you need to go back and save whales?
Because the big probe's going to destroy the universe if they don't hear the whale calls.
Exactly. I kept telling him this. The aliens needed the whales.
It's called a plot device.
Yeah.
Get over it.
Greatest.
It's
So
a
that's a
terrible
shout out
plot.
to you, Charles.
Yeah, I mean it's
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 manageable
kinda
to make
like-
to make a story happen.
it's kind of like the Doctor Strange of Star Treks, where it isn't battles and explosions.
Right.
Well, Doctor Strange has battles and explosions, but the end solution is not battles and explosions.
I had another analogy, but it also failed because it also had battles and explosions. So I'm just gonna move on.
Are there any other closing thoughts on Star Trek Picard?
Yes. Well, just a few notes before we get quite there. Shaky cam underlined, like they do. You know, you've got two people talking to each other. You cut from one to the other, and the whole time it's just like free camera. I'm like, remember when Star Trek just had nice static shots and you could see what the people were doing and not be. I don't know. I found it distracting. That's me. I'm weird. And also, the ending was totally Nemesis 2.0, but then I wrote 1.5, and then I put 0.9 because Nemesis is 0.5 of the Star Trek movie, and this is maybe like 0.4 more. Maybe it's 1.0. I'm not sure.
Nice.
But it's like, they literally play Blue Skies again as he dies again.
It was weird to see him get all old all of a sudden. He just
Right.
suddenly aged.
I will say that lighting definitely helped the CGI in that darker room.
I just the first scene when he like appeared and he just has this turtleneck and this really nice suit. I was like, it's like gangster. It's like gangster data.
Right. In the scene where he dies, is he wearing more of that like weird robe that he had when he played Sherlock Holmes?
I don't know.
Or was it more? Maybe it looked more like All Good Things, and he was in the future. He had his mansion and his half gray hair because he wanted to look dignified or something. And he had a weird robe on. Maybe it was the same robe. I don't know. I'd have to actually look it up, and I'm not doing that.
I felt like that robe had more color.
Well, you were in a very drab environment, and there really wasn't much color in that environment.
I guess.
I don't know.
I read that Brent Spiner said that he intends to never play Data again.
Yes.
He said that about Nemesis, yet here he is.
Made another one.
Yeah, they made Nemesis 1.0.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With not enough Remans.
Look, the less we talk about the Remans, the better.
I like the Remans.
Oh no. Also, we mentioned something earlier, Ryan. The version of Blue Skies they should have played is Brent Spiner singing plays.
They should have done Brent Spiner Blue Skies at the end.
It was great.
It was
That
nice
would've
that they
been great.
played it. I admit that. It was very dramatic. I enjoyed the rendition. But Brent Spiner Blue Skies,
It would have been over the top, but
Yep.
that's what would have made it perfect.
that would have. Alrighty.
All right, so
Thank you for tuning in.
closing thoughts from everyone on the show. All right. Curtis, what did you think of Star Trek Picard? You watched 10 episodes.
10.
Was it worth bringing an old 87-year-old Patrick Stewart?
He's
out of
79.
Whatever. He's really old. He's 94 in universe.
I know.
How did he survive those explosions in episode 1? Never mind. Was it worth bringing this 79-year-old geezer and one of his friends and then a bunch of other random people together for this? Whatever this was.
It was. I had a lot of hope going in, as I have with every show going in. Episode 7 was, I think, the high point of the whole thing.
Standing around on a planet talking to people that we already knew.
Sounds very Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was enjoyable. The last 2 episodes were so generic sci-fi, whatever, that I didn't really care too much about them.
Was it worth it? Overall.
I think they can make lots of improvements in Season 2. So it'll be worth it if Season 2 is infinitely better than Season 1.
That is an scapegoat answer. I haven't heard one before. Ryan, you're up.
That's.
He's a hard
It
Maybe
was,
it was worth it. Maybe it wasn't.
I'm.
Probably some more retrospective will clear that up for you.
My basis for the show has mostly been off of like, what was the score on IMDb? What was it ranked on Rotten Tomatoes?
What was your score?
It was, which is it.
So who
Which
cares
goes
what
along,
other people think? What
it
do you
goes
think?
along with. It was
Sounds like a
okay.
5.3 rating
It was. Yes.
out of 10.
Yes. 5.3. I
Those
mean,
are
there
good two
were-
numbers put together.
Yes. Haha. No, it was okay. There were definitely some parts that I really enjoyed, but there is also just so much confusing
Pointlessness?
pointlessness that I'm just kind of left as, if they do better on the next time, I think I'll still watch it regardless for season 2, but
This is how these shows keep getting made, because you keep coming back, even though it's meh.
I want to see what they put forward for the next season.
It's no Mandalorian.
This is true.
No. And I suppose that leaves me. I will say one thing. The ending of episode 10 was almost Star Trek in that you had 8 billion ships set up against each other and they didn't shoot anything. They just went their separate ways. Everything's fine. So that was nice. The rest of the show, I think my feelings have been pretty clear throughout these 3 episodes that, well, some may think me a downer. I believe myself to be more of a realist. And as I said, I was able to see things coming that you guys were like, wow, he called it. Clarity about what's going on with some of these things. And yes, maybe I'm a little too nitpicky. I'm just that way. Was this show worth bringing 79-year-old Patrick Stewart out of retirement and getting some other actors to talk to him? No. For the love of God. There's so much more you can do with Star Trek. And you can go to brave new worlds, new civilizations, like Star Trek, the original series, Next Generation, Voyager, Enterprise. Look, DS9 was cool. I love DS9. It's weird. It's wonky. We don't have to keep doing it. We can go find new places, figure out the quantum slipstream, and go to Andromeda. What's newer than Andromeda? A place we've only been in an episode of the original series because aliens hijacked it to go and rescue their civilization or something. So, like, there's the potential plot thread from the original series. Continuity, always nice. And then you can meet new people and things we've never seen before and things that you wouldn't think is possible because we've only experienced what we know in the Milky Way. Just a suggestion. CBS, feel free to use it. But yeah, I suppose that wraps up Picard.
Yes. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe.
Next week, we will be talking about
The Mandalorian.
The Mandalorian.
Ooh.
So stay tuned. See you next week.
And subscribe.
Like and comment and subscribe.
And like the
And
comments.
subscribe.
Like the comments. Subscribe to the commenters.